want you to want what I want you to feel, but it's like no matter what I do, I can't convince you to just believe this is real. So
Good morning. I'm Aaron Brinker.
And I'm Tobin Brinker.
And we are on The Brink, the morning show on KCAA. Waking you up this morning in Redlands, California. We're covering all of the Inland Empire on 102.3, 106.5, and 1050 AM. Oh, are we alive, alert, awake, and enthusiastic?
Barely.
So
Wednesdays are my new Mondays.
Are they?
I'm feeling it. I don't know why, but I'm dragging this morning. And I should be excited because it's Wednesday. We're halfway through.
I know, but it's it's the time of year when it's an absolute sin to be indoors.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, it's so nice outside right now.
It's so nice outside right now.
Yesterday was my first day running after school with my students, and it was glorious.
I bet.
It was glorious. A perfect running weather.
In the upper 60s, lower 70s yesterday, right?
Yeah.
So
and
it was
a little
just
bit of a breeze.
Gorgeous.
Right? Wonderful. Oh, I want to do that again.
So, I don't know if you just heard the report that nobody won the big drawing last night.
Yes.
And so now it's up to like $500 million.
Yes, I'm gonna go get another ticket. I had one for this last one because when they get over like 400 million, I'm like, yeah, I'm in.
I mean, it's you indulge the fantasy, right?
Yeah.
So this guy, he cleaned out his wardrobe, and he found a winning lottery ticket.
Really?
Yeah, really. Gregorio DeSantis says his heart nearly stopped when he realized its values. A Montreal man and his sister has a sister to thank for his sudden windfall. The equivalent of $1.32 million in American dollars is what he found. He urged by his sister to finally clean out his wardrobe. Gregorio DeSantis found a Lotto 649 ticket dated December 6, 2017 in an old jacket and took it in to be validated. I would never have looked in that wardrobe without her, he says. He initially thought the ticket was worth $1,750 when it was scanned on a machine. Then he realized that he'd won 1.75 million Canadian. DeSantis says his heart nearly stopped when he realized the value. This is according to the Montreal Gazette. Now the obvious question, how to spend it. DeSantis modestly says he plans to bolster his retirement fund and may see extra hockey games, how very Canadian, with his nephew. Perhaps it was the excitement of the moment, says AFP, but DeSantis made no reported mention of a thank you gift for his clever sister. Oh, if I were her,
right.
I'd be like, dude, you owe me.
Right. Right. And of course, now there's a whole bunch of guys all over the place like, maybe I'm going to clean out my closet. Maybe. Right.
Nah.
Wow.
So, and the reason why this makes the international news is because it's something that we all dream about, but it never happens in real life.
Right. Yeah, I mean, but we do. You and I have this conversation, right? We indulge the fantasy, and we sometimes will hold on to the ticket for, days after the drawing.
Without looking at it.
Without looking at it, because we really just want to have that fantasy for a couple more days before we find out for sure that we didn't win.
But we know we didn't win. Let's be honest.
Yeah.
You like I've said before, you said you can't win if you don't play, and I'm like, you can't win if you do play. The odds are so against you.
Yes.
But it's kind of fun. I mean,
the
if
odds be ever in your favor.
Great. At least in this case, if I lose, I'm not going to die.
Right. Oh my goodness. That's a good story to start the day with, though, Aaron.
Right? It's hopeful.
It's hopeful.
Well, here's something that's actually also hopeful. The FDA has approved an expanded use of Gardasil 9, which protects against many types of the human papilloma virus, HPV, that causes cervical cancer and probably other kinds of cancers as well, to include adults ages 27 to 45. Because before, it was just for, I think 11 to 25.
And it was just for girls, right?
Yeah, it was just for girls.
Now men and women, Aaron, we're in the game.
So most people with HPV don't have symptoms. The infection often clears on its own. However, persistent infections with certain high-risk types of the virus can lead to cancer, including cancer of the cervix, anus, penis, and throat.
Wow.
Yeah, that's frightening.
Yeah, and we can cure it with a drug, Aaron.
So I have to admit that I didn't, we vaccinated our kids on everything except this, because it was brand new when our daughter was the age to get the shot, and I didn't trust it. I just didn't trust it yet because it was brand new.
Yeah, well, unfortunately, we've got some historical examples of drugs that have gone wrong, and you don't want to be the first one to jump in on some new medicine, right? Let someone else be the guinea pig. Let's get some test cases out there and see how that's working out. Then we can jump in and get it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And at this point, she's an adult. She's going to do what she wants. But,
Yeah.
we've gotten everything else, but that one I just wasn't comfortable with yet. And then it became her decision. I wasn't going to, as she became an older teen, she said she didn't want it. And, I wasn't going to force her. This is an invasion of her body. And I say invasion, but, that's something that really she should decide for herself. Yeah. And now if she decides she wants it, she can go get it.
Exactly.
But she's married in a monogamous relationship, so I don't imagine that it's much of a risk for her at this point.
Yeah. Well, and now it's open to men, so maybe he's the one who gets it, Who knows?
Who knows?
He has choices too, Aaron. Equality.
Speaking of, I don't want to say equality, some mean girls conspired to falsely accuse a teen of sexual assault.
This story made me so mad. Oh, my God. You're right. Go ahead.
So parents of a former Seneca Valley High School student have filed a federal lawsuit claiming their son became a target of 5 mean girls at the school who conspired to accuse him of multiple counts of sexual assault. According to the lawsuit filed in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, the mean girls conspired in person and via electronic communication devices to falsely accuse TF, just initials, of sexual assault on 2 occasions. The boy, who's only identified as TF in the lawsuit, was forced to endure multiple court appearances, detention in a juvenile facility, detention at home, the loss of his liberty, and other damages until several of the girls reluctantly admitted that their accusations were false over the summer. The boy's parents say TF was bullied by other classmates on multiple occasions, citing one example when students wrote the word predator on some masking tape and placed it on his back during choir practice. The lawsuit also alleges that TF was damaged by gender bias at the school after officials there did not take, quote, any action against the females involved, unquote, when the allegations were just discovered to be falsified. TF was basically being tortured in school by the other students and investigators, but the administration was only focused on protecting girls who were lying. And this is according to Attorney Craig Fishman. Once the allegations were proven false, they really didn't care one bit about TF. There has been absolutely no repercussion against the girls. Fishman says TF is now being homeschooled after his experience. The first allegation came in July 2017 when he was working at a local swimming pool as a lifeguard. Another teenage girl referred to as KS in the lawsuit accused TF of assaulting her at the pool. Those claims were corroborated by a former Seneca Valley High School female student who is friends with KS. TF was charged in juvenile court with indecent assault and 2 counts of harassment. He pleaded not guilty and was put on probation and required to stay out of trouble for 6 months. However, during a tape-recorded interview taken with the school officials in 2017, obtained by Fishman, KS is allegedly heard to say she made the sexual assault claim against TF because I just don't like him.
Wow.
Yeah. I just don't like to hear him talk. I don't like to look at him. KS says in the recording, according to the lawsuit. The lawsuit goes on to state that KS told other classmates she would do anything to get TF expelled.
Wow. These kids are watching too many movies, and they think that this is somehow okay, right?
Or that it's a game.
It's a game, right?
That it's, like, look, I'm going to get him.
Yeah.
So
and the things that he went through, I mean, he actually gets incarcerated.
He does. In March, another friend of KS and somebody who's over 18, named Viegas, identified as CS, reported to a school counselor that TF had assaulted her while he was walking home. Those allegations were supported by 2 other friends, identified as ES and HR in the lawsuit. TF was charged with indecent assault, criminal trespass, and simple assault in April. On April 10th, TF was removed from class at Seneca Valley High School and placed in leg and wrist shackles by the Jackson Township Police with the assistance of juvenile probation officer Michael Trigo. The allegations against TF began to fall apart in May when 3 of the witnesses against him admitted to officials they had lied. Based on the new information, the district attorney's office sought an order dismissing all charges against TF due to false reports. The lawsuit seeks unspecified damages charges. I actually think that every single person who lied needs to face criminal charges.
Yeah.
You cannot wreck a person's life without consequences.
Yeah. Now, I will share a while back, in my capacity as a union rep, I had to rep a teacher who had a student who made an unsubstantiated allegation against him. And turns out that the student, through digital media, was contacting other friends and bragging online about how she had made this up to get the teacher, and how she'd done it before. And went back and looked in her cum file, and turns out she'd made accusations about other teachers in the past. And this is a kid, and this is middle school age. This is a kid who obviously has some issues, and was using this as a way, a source of power over adults. Right? I can just make an accusation, and that teacher was put through a whole bunch of stuff, right, over a false allegation. And then finally, when it came out, the teacher gets brought back, no sort of recompense for what they've been through, and nothing happened to the student except for the student gets moved to a different class. That's it. No criminal anything, no consequences, yeah.
You know what this all of this nonsense reminds me of is that time, remember the McMartin preschool case when suddenly there was a child predator behind every bush?
Yes. And
that people were losing their minds? That's what this feels like.
Yeah.
Are there people who commit sexual assault and back in at that time with the McMartin case who abuse children? Certainly.
Yeah. But
is it that it's so rampant right now that every man is a predator? No. And there needs to be, if you file, and it is against the law to file a false police report. There should be strong consequences for doing this.
Yeah.
To make people think twice. Well, maybe I won't do this to somebody. Because assassinating somebody's character is almost as, well, in some cases it's worse than actually killing them. Because then they have to live with the fallout. Because there will always be some people who, what they'll remember is, oh, you were that guy.
Yeah.
You did that thing.
They'll never get the second half of the story, which is that the
Right.
person was completely exonerated and that it was all false.
Or they won't believe it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you can see that with what's happening with Judge Kavanaugh, despite the fact that there were literally no corroborating witnesses, literally no corroborating evidence. People still say, well, it was a fix. I'm sure he did it. He's a rapist. He's a drunk. He's a whatever. So that will always follow him.
Yeah.
So
Shameful.
It is shameful. So with that, let's take a break. I'm Erin Brinker.
And I'm Tobin Brinker.
And we are on the Brink, the morning show on KCAA. We'll be right back.
Success Partner presents the all-new Yucaipa and Calamasa Morning Market, located on the corner of County Line Road and California Street in the city of Yucaipa. This all-new neighborhood farmers market is open from 8 a.m. to noon on most Saturdays and carries some of the freshest produce in the Inland Empire. The Yucaipa and Calamasa Morning Market now open on most Saturdays at 13669 California Street in Yucaipa. 13669 California Street in Yucaipa. More information at 909-222-9293. That number again is 909-222-9293 or email successpartner@live.com. The all-new Yucaipa and Calamasa Morning Market, now open on most Saturdays in Yucaipa. Presented by Success Partner.
Visit your local Baker's drive-thru restaurant this month and get an Easter Seals Safe Halloween booklet for just $1. You'll receive over $400 in coupons and make a life-changing difference in the lives of kids and adults with disabilities in the Inland Empire. 100% of the proceeds support Easter Seals services in your community. No trick. Learn more at easterseals.com/Southern Cal.
We had a flood of veterans coming home and ending up homeless.
Retired Marine Jeff Brighton from Redlands.
When James Ramos got involved, everything changed. As county supervisor, James has found housing for homeless veterans, helping hundreds of local vets get the shelter and support they needed to get back on their feet.
James Ramos worked across party lines to balance the county budget while doing more to help local veterans. Attack the homeless crisis. and expand career and skills training.
James has been instrumental in helping obtain funding for programs that support veterans. James is very passionate when he takes on a cause. It's not for political gain, it's because he truly believes. I believe that James is going to continue to fight for the veterans and ensure that the resources are available to them that they need. James Ramos has always stood with veterans. That's why veterans like me are standing with James Ramos for Assembly.
Paid for by James Ramos for Assembly 2018.
It's time to shop in the cool, relaxed comfort of the Tri-City Shopping Center in Redlands, conveniently located on the I-10 freeway between the Alabama and Tennessee exits. Bring the kids too and watch them play in the only indoor fun center. High Five Indoor Playground, where parents are welcomed on the playground. Birthday celebrations are encouraged, so make plans for some great fun at the mall. More reasons why the Tri-City Center is called the Mall with a Heart. Drivers, when it's time to visit the DMV, avoid the long lines and save time by calling toll-free 833-DMV-LINE. That's 833-DMV-5463. KCAA, where every day is a great day.
Back. I'm Erin Brinker.
And I'm Tobin Brinker.
And we are on the Brink, the morning show on KCAA, AM 1050, FM 106.5, and FM 102.3. Want to remind everybody all the ways you can listen to KCAA. In addition to the places on the dial that I just shared with you, you can go to KCAAradio.com. You can catch Tobin on video. Wave Tobin on video.
Hey.
Tobin, although he kind of was wearing the same color as the wall today.
What? Am I camouflaged?
You kind of camouflaged.
Am I wearing green in front of a green screen?
You kind of are. Kind of are. So you can watch. You can watch there. You can listen there at KCAAradio.com. You can catch our podcast along with all the podcasts on KCAA. You can also catch our podcast on iHeart. Go to iHeart, search in the podcast for On the Brink Radio or On the Brink KCAA, and you will find us. So that's where you can listen to all of our podcasts from all of the years we've been on the air.
We've been on the air for a long time.
Yeah. So you picked a story, Tobin.
Oh, my gosh. Okay.
So motor voters are on the ropes. You sent me this story.
I know. I mean, if I don't have the screen open,
All right.
It takes a second.
It takes a second. Motor voters is on the ropes. California considers a freeze of DMV registrations. So trying to get tens of thousands of voter registration errors under control. Whoops. Golly, who thought that might happen?
Everybody.
Everybody
said when they were trying to do this, the DMV's kind of a mess. Why would you give them extra responsibilities?
Right. And mind you, and I'm not faulting the DMV. This is the same time when we have to do the real ID.
Yeah.
You know, because the regular California driver's license is not okay for flying domestically as of, I think, 2020.
Yes.
And all of these driver's licenses to undocumented immigrants.
Yes. So you've got, the DMV is just swamped with all this stuff.
Right.
And on top of it, you throw in, oh, by the way, I want you to register all these voters.
Right.
Yeah. And so, unsurprisingly, they made a lot of mistakes.
Well, if you think about it, because, you have to, your computer system basically has to do that, right? Either that or you have to rely on human beings, and human beings make errors. And if you've ever been to the DMV, it's always slammed, every office.
Yeah, well, they started this back on April 23rd with the motor voter program. And just last month, they made 23,000 voter registration errors that resulted from technicians that were toggling between multiple screens and having registration information improperly merged.
Right.
And then in May, the LA Times reported that another software error affected 77,000 voter records. And then, of course, on Monday, right, this was the latest one, DMV said about another 1,500 people were improperly registered to vote, some of whom may not be citizens. And, of course, this was the conservatives' big complaint about this whole deal, right, was that this was a backdoor way for the Democrats to get a whole bunch of undocumented immigrants to the voting booth, right, so that they could take even bigger victories in elections, right? This is a designed mistake, This is what people will say. This was a design mistake.
This is what people are saying.
Yeah, this was a designed mistake so that they could win elections with people who shouldn't be voting.
So I don't know that it's I'm not ready to go there yet, because that is a big charge.
It is.
I'm not ready to go there yet, but I will say that that the DMV was set up for failure.
Well, the good news is it's a Democrat, Alex Padilla, who's in charge of the voting for the state. He's the secretary of the state. And he is now looking at, he gave us a news conference yesterday, he is looking at shutting down the motor voter program until they have a complete audit and they figure out how to fix these problems, because it's persistent and it's big. This isn't just a isolated, we found a couple over here. Thousands of records are incorrect.
So here's the thing that the state does on a regular basis, and the place where it does it the most is public education. Somebody gets an idea that sounds good, and they roll it out to the entire state in one fell swoop.
Yeah.
One swell foop. I think it's either way, it sounds funny.
It does. No, but you're right. They never want to phase things in because the politicians want to say, this happened on my watch. I did
God
this.
forbid you actually pilot a program.
Yeah.
And work the bugs out.
Yeah.
That would just be crazy.
I know, right?
And so everybody who works in that system then has to try to figure out what that politician, how to do what that politician has promised. And then, it's then they have to, get the egg on their face when it doesn't work, but it wasn't set up to work.
Yeah.
And we saw this, when with rolling out Common Core in not only California schools, but in other states as well. And the teachers are going, hold up. This requires a whole different infrastructure.
Yeah.
Give me 5 minutes to put it together.
So Republican Assemblyman from Fresno, Jim Patterson, is a sharp critic of the DMV, and he wants a complete shutdown of the motor voter operation until the thorough investigation is conducted. And he says, well, a freeze could be done when lawmakers return to the Capitol next year. He pressed for Governor Jerry Brown to take executive action in the meantime.
That's not going to happen.
He said the governor could do it with an executive decision to suspend things of this nature under what would be his emergency authority. If this is an emergency in regard to the sanctity of our voter rolls, I don't know what is.
He's not going to do it.
Yeah.
He's not going to do it. Are you kidding?
Yeah.
Right here at the end of his term, admit he failed in something? No.
And right before a major election coming up, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And this is on him.
Yeah.
This is 100% on him.
He's the executive. He's in charge of these guys. If they're not getting it done, if their mistakes are being made, he's the one who's should be held responsible.
I agree. So it's time for another break. I'm Erin Brinker.
And I'm Tobin Brinker.
And we are on The Brink, the morning show on KCAA. We will be right back.
KCAA Loma Linda, 1050 AM, K292 FQ Riverside, and K293 CF Moreno Valley.
NBC News Radio Special Report, Hurricane Michael. I'm Lisa Carter. Millions of people are bracing for the arrival later today of Hurricane Michael, a monster Category 4. Forecasters predict the storm will make landfall around Panama City Beach, Florida, sometime after the lunch hour, with winds of 145 miles an hour. City manager Mario Gesper tells NBC's Today Show they prepared for the worst.
Now it's just following the action plan. So we have 50% of our police officers on duty. We have 50% of our firefighters. We're churning people in and out every 12 hours, so everybody's fresh.
While the winds will be bad enough, officials warn it's likely going to be the storm surge that poses the greatest threat. Some areas of the Sunshine State could see storm surge in excess of 12 feet. And the flood-weary Carolina is also preparing for the storm. Millions are still cleaning up after Hurricane Florence swamped the region with record rain last month. Lisa Carter, NBC News Radio.
It's time for traffic on KCAA. I'm Erin Brinker. In Chino Hills on the 71 southbound at the 83 Butterfield Ranch Road, 2 separate injury wrecks have the on-ramp blocked. Euclid and Pine Avenue are currently blocked as well. A possible alternate is to take Carbon Canyon or the 60 to get around this. A law enforcement officer is on scene. CHP may close mainline lanes. In Montclair on the 10 westbound before Monte Vista Avenue, a crash is now blocking the 2 right lanes. Stop-and-go traffic is back backed up from the 15. And in Claremont on the 210 westbound approaching Baseline, a wreck is now in the center divider. Slow traffic is backed up from campus. Finally, in Ranch Cucamonga on the 15 northbound before Foothill Boulevard, a now contained car fire is along the right shoulder. This has been your traffic report on KCAA. We are the stations that leave no listener behind. I'm Erin Brinker.
From the KCAA Weather Center, I'm Alvin Washington. Patchy fog this morning, sunshine later with strong winds, high of 77. Slight chance of showers this evening, a low of 55. Sunshine, slight chance of showers, strong winds on Thursday, high 75. I'm Alvin Washington, broadcasting live from the Tri-City Center at the 10 and 210 freeways. We are the trifecta of talk in Southern California, KCAA, 102.3 FM Riverside, 106.5 FM Redlands, and the Legacy, 1050 AM, Loma Linda, San Bernardino.
Re-elect Riverside County Sheriff Stan Sniff on November 6th because Sheriff Sniff will keep our families safe. Let's keep a proven and experienced leader in this critical office as he continues to modernize our Sheriff's Department by integrating technology tools for his deputies and dramatically improving their training and equipment. Vote for experience, proven leadership, and integrity. Vote to re-elect Riverside County Sheriff Stan Sniff on November 6th. Paid for by Friends of Stan Sniff 2018.
Success Partner presents the all-new Yucaipa and Calamasa Morning Market, located on the corner of County Line Road and California Street in the city of Yucaipa. This all-new neighborhood farmers market is open from 8 a.m. to noon on most Saturdays and carries some of the freshest produce in the Inland Empire. The Yucaipa and Calamasa Morning Market now open on most Saturdays at 13669 California Street in Yucaipa. 13669 California Street in Yucaipa. More information at 909-222-9293. That number again is 909-222-9293 or email successpartner@live.com. The all-new Yucaipa and Calamasa Morning Market, now open on most Saturdays in Yucaipa. Presented by Success Partner.
KCAA, where every day is a great day.
Welcome back. I'm Erin Brinker.
And I'm Tobin Brinker.
And we are on the Brink, the morning show on KCAA. AM 1050, FM 106.5, and FM 102.3. October is National Pregnancy and Infant Loss Remembrance Day, or Remembrance Month, and the Remembrance Day is October 15th. We have with us to talk about this Dr. Joanne Yanez. She is the Executive Director for the AANMC, that's the Association of Accredited Naturopathic Medical Colleges, and she joins us once a month to talk about all issues regarding or around the subject of health. Dr. Yanez, welcome back to the show.
Thank you. Good morning, folks.
Good morning. So I just learned through this prepping for today that there actually was an official Pregnancy and Infant Loss Remembrance Day.
This is a topic. Obviously, it is and can be a sad one for some folks. And I think that it's a very important part of recognizing, last month we were talking about mental health. Before that, we were talking about fertility. And, I just think of this topic as one that a lot of people used to just never talk about, but it was a very personal and sensitive area for them, especially, at that time of year when the pregnancy loss happened or if they were trying to get pregnant again. And I think it just speaks to the fact that we just so do not know what shoes people are walking in.
No, and this used to be something that everybody experienced. Tobin was one of the first babies in the state of Kansas for his mom used, was it Rogam?
Yes.
Because the RH factor did not match. His mom is RH negative and Tobin is RH positive. And so he posted about that recently, and he was really surprised by the number of people who talked about losing multiple children because of that issue. It really shocked us. We didn't know.
It is one of those things where, if I poll just even amongst my girlfriends, many of them have experienced pregnancy loss, and the data really does show that many pregnancies are lost, and many of them will be lost early on in the first trimester, and that often has to do with viability of the pregnancy or something that occurred either with the fetus or on the mom's side to make the pregnancy not be able to go full term, and so the body will just say, hey, this is a pregnancy that's probably not going to work, and that's where the miscarriage happens. So many of them will occur in that first trimester, but as the pregnancy progresses, it can be, and even early on, it can be very traumatic for both parts of the couple, because it's something that you're really for many people happy about, excited about, and but recognizing that it is a natural part of the cycle, but it's still very traumatic for many folks. And I think one of the things I see in Tobin and have seen with patients is oftentimes when they're trying to get pregnant again or are pregnant again, the pregnancy loss will bring up a lot of emotion. It may bring up fear. It may bring up guilt. It may bring up a number of different feelings around this. And, I'm just thinking of myself recently. I had a pregnancy loss before my son was born. And just recently he asked me, Mommy, did you ever have a baby in your belly before me? And I actually said, I did, sweetie. And so I shared that with him, and it was, I wasn't quite sure of his reaction, and he was actually sad. He said, oh, I could have had a brother or a sister. And so, I think that it is important for families to process. It is important to understand the depths of, how that impacts people as a physician, as folks going through life, and what that means.
What's interesting is that, especially if the baby is born, it passes before before being born. Sorry, excuse me, I have a frog in my throat. Before being born, people are, well, just get over it. You can have another one, but that life was a life. That life was a child. That life, you still mourn for the loss of that baby, because as soon as you find out you're pregnant, you start developing love and thoughts about that child, and you've maybe named the child. You may have put the nursery together. You may be, probably are making plans, and that the baby, whether the baby was born or not, you will still mourn when it dies.
Yeah, I think, again, just as in any death situation or any grief situation, grief is individual. And you never know what someone's going to experience. Some people process it very well, and they just understand it's a part of nature, and they may process it that way. Other people may process it as a death. I've known of patients and friends who, every year on the anniversary of the passing, they are very emotional and sad and grief-stricken. And so I think, we can't walk in other people's shoes. We'll never know exactly how they are going to process that situation or what that is going to feel for them. And I think that's the biggest thing.
Right.
A lot of times when people die, or when when a grief situation happens, it's common to say, "Oh, I understand what you're going through," or "I'm so sorry." I've been there, and yes, you may have been there personally, or you may have had something, but you never know what someone else's emotional situation is,
right,
and what that means for them. And so I think, again, just giving people a safe place to understand that, as part of this, my passion of helping bring greater awareness for mental health issues, and, just sensitivity and empathy for the things that people go through. I think that's the bigger picture here.
Right.
Is, whether it's a pregnancy loss or the contemplation of suicide or it's, whatever it is, I think that the more kind we can be to people and the more of a safe place to be able to share and get help is really what we all should be striving for. And we will be a better community and a better society for that.
When in doubt, be kind.
Bingo.
So, one of the things that our infant mortality has improved in the United States dramatically, but it's still not where we would like it to be. And I think the key is you need to, as soon as you find out that you're pregnant, or to, maybe to verify the pregnancy is your first time meeting with your physician, you need to start preparing for that baby, for your body, meaning you take your vitamins, you get the rest that you need, you eat well. And sometimes babies will just die despite all of that, but you want to give the baby the best chance and your body the best chance of having a healthy pregnancy.
And Erin, naturopathic doctors actually go a step further. We will start working with the couple, so both parties, on preconception fertility and getting the body as healthy before you start to conceive. Or start to try to conceive, if possible. Sometimes oopses happen and things are not always planned out. But if it is a planned pregnancy or planned trying to get pregnant, naturopathic doctors will actually work with both partners to get the bodies as healthy as possible. And I know we talk a lot about the female, but it's also important for male health and sperm motility and sperm health to work on nutrition and other issues as well there. So those are the types of things that, when you're talking about a naturopathic approach, it's really and truly preventative. And so we're working with the body to get the body as healthy prior to conception, and then work with the parents post-conception to create a healthy environment for a thriving child, both during the pregnancy and after birth.
So I keep hearing reports, I've heard lots of news stories about the dramatically decreased sperm counts in American men versus, 50 years ago. And are naturopathic doctors working on that issue?
I think, again, we work with overall health. And so our goal is a healthy patient overall. And as part of that, in Chinese medicine and in Asian medicine, how many times have you been to a doctor and they've asked about your libido?
Never.
Naturopathic visit, in a naturopathic visit, that is a very common question because it's an indication of a lot of things. If you have enough energy and interest for sex and sexual pleasure, that says a good amount about your health status. And so that is one question that often will be asked in a naturopathic visit, and you'll get a side eye from patients like, wait, what did you just ask me about? But because it is an indicator of your energy, it's an indicator of your relationship, and it's an indicator of your sleep, and and so many other things that if that is not fully there, that can be a sign that other things are going on. And so as part of the ND visit, that is something that will be asked about.
Wow. Well, as always, it's a treat to have
Mind
you on
blown,
there. It really is. The modern medicine, I say modern, for traditional not traditional, what we consider, go to an MD and your HMO, you have your doctor looking at a screen, typing in, I'm sure their check boxes as they're asking you questions. We've talked about this, that, they just ask, okay, why are you sick? Why are you here? And, so yeah, my mind's blown a little bit. So, as always, it's such a treat to have you with us. We so enjoy you coming on the air with us. Let everybody know how they can find you and follow you, and learn more about the Association for Accredited Naturopathic Medical Colleges.
Sure thing. We are on the interwebs, aanmc.org, social media, LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. Follow us. And It is Naturopathic Medicine Week this week.
Oh.
And so we're doing lots of fun stuff all week to support Naturopathic Medicine Week.
Oh, that's great. So they can go on the website and get all that information?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Well, Dr. Joanne Yanez, as always, thank you so much for joining us. And we look forward to our next conversation.
Talk soon.
Talk to you soon. All right. So it's time for a break. I'm Erin Brinker.
And I'm Tobin Brinker.
And we are on the Brink, the morning show on KCAA. We'll be right back.
This election, the voters in the 42nd Assembly District have an amazing chance to finally be represented in Sacramento by someone who listens and cares.
I'm Denny Antoinette Mazingo. Vote for me November 6th.
Denny will reach across the aisle to work with the majority in Sacramento and give voters the voice they've been waiting for and need.
I will advocate and fight for universal health care, a path from college to career free of debt, a healthy business environment with abundant well-paying jobs, affordable housing for all, safe schools and communities, a transition program for 18-year-old foster care children. Seniors have to choose monthly on what life necessities they can afford, and we're going to change that.
Denny's a former military lawyer, a JAG. She will fight for you in Sacramento. Google Denny, D-E-N-I.
I'm Denny Antoinette Mazingo. I approve this message.
Paid for by Friends of Denny Antoinette Mazingo.
The Tri-City Shopping Center in Redlands is home to some of the best bargain shopping in the region. Citywear, Style for Less, and Dollar Tree, to name just a few. Friendly shop owners and staff are waiting for you to stop in for the many specials and bargains they're excited to share. The Tri-City Shopping Center is located just off I-10 between Alabama and the Tennessee exits in Redlands. Make it your home for all your shopping needs, and you'll know why the Tri-City Center is called the Mall with a Heart.
This segment is sponsored by Tammy Sutherland of Coldwell Banker Kivett Teeters Realty, where she makes it her business to put happy people in happy homes. It's Tammy Sutherland's passion to list your house and put you in just the right house that you could call home.
She made so much extra effort to sell our house and make sure that we understood every step of the way. Tammy always had our best interests at heart.
I didn't think we'd ever find a house we loved, but with Tammy's help, we did. Now I get to mow the lawn every weekend. But then again, that's why we had kids. Hey, Tyler!
Tammy did way more than we ever expected in a real estate agent. Without Tammy, we would still be renting.
So if you want your perfect house, contact Tammy Sutherland at Coldwell Banker Kivett Teeters Realty in Yucaipa, across from Yucaipa High School. Whether you're looking to buy or sell, it's homesbytammy.net or on Facebook at facebook.com/Realtor Tammy Sutherland at 909-556-2094 for Realtor Tammy Sutherland, and we thank her for her support.
Hi everybody, Ray Lucia here with some important information about debt, your debt. Whether you have a first or second mortgage, you're looking to buy or refi a home or rental property, or just need to consolidate your credit cards to lower your payments and save some serious interest, you need to do some loan financial planning with Steve Alladort, my mortgage man, at loanfinancialplanner.com. Now, Steve's not your garden variety mortgage broker. He actually spends time evaluating how you can use the current super competitive interest rates to pay off your mortgage early. Purchase a rental property, improve your cash flow, upgrade to your dream home, or even help your kids or grandkids get into a house. That's what loan financial planning is all about. Steve's been helping me and my listeners for over 2 decades, and I can tell you he is the best finance guy in the business. Go to loanfinancialplanner.com. That's loanfinancialplanner.com.
Or call Steve Alladort at 888-563-1070. That's 888-563-1070.
If you're suffering from aches and pains, it's time to try Arbo Vitae Health and Wellness Dietary Supplement. ITAEUS.com. To order by phone, call 800-570-0433. That number again, 800-570-0433. Arbo Vitae is proud to sponsor Fish Talk Radio. Check out the show on Facebook or visit the Fish Talk website at fishtalkradio.com. The first caller will receive a 30-day supply of Arbo Vitae with no obligation, so call now, 800-570-0433.
KCAA.
Welcome back. I'm Erin Brinker.
And I'm Tobin Brinker.
And we are on The Brink, the morning show on KCAA, AM 1050, FM 106.5, and FM 102.3. So, Tobin, tell us why we won't find Gavin Newsom's statement in the voter guide.
Okay, so I saw the headline. I thought to myself, what did he do? Did he goof up his campaign? I mean, he's a professional politician. I mean, there's got to be some rational reason why.
Yeah, he's not a newbie.
Right. Well, it turns out that he made a choice. That in order to get his statement in the voter guide that goes to every voter, right, he would have had to submit to the state's spending limits, and he doesn't want to do that because he can raise and spend more money this way, right? And so if you can break the rules, right, so he gives up the benefit of getting his statement in the voter guide, but now he gets to spend unlimited amounts of money and raise as much money from as many special interest groups as he wants and get out there to run his campaign.
Well, and this is a one-party state anyway.
Yeah, and his opponent took the spending limits and gets his statement in there. So John Cox will be in the voter guide, and Gavin Newsom won't. And what this story really meant to me is it speaks to a much larger issue about money in politics and how both the Democrats and the Republicans play this game, right? And we saw a similar thing happen in the 2008 presidential election when President Obama became the first candidate in the modern era to forgo public financing of his campaign for the general election, and which got him out of the spending limits, got him out of all of those rules, and he was able to raise a lot more money, primarily online from small donors. But a lot of the problems existed with that online small donor donation base because it's on the internet. There were people from all over the globe,
which you're not supposed to do,
that were making donations.
Yeah.
And the small donations don't get scrutinized the way big ones do, right? There's no system for that. And so as long as the Obama campaign says, yeah, we're screening and we're making sure they're all American citizens, we just kind of have to accept that at face value.
Yeah, and how would they do that?
Yeah.
They ask the question, are you American citizen? And the person checkmarks yes, and that's the screening.
Thank you. And so I was very upset at the time when that happened because it looked like there was a lot of illegal money coming in for the Obama campaign, and they just swamped the spending of John McCain, who couldn't raise that amount of money and took the federal limits. And, of course, Obama won that election. And then 2 years later, the Supreme Court had the Citizens United ruling, which said that money is speech and allowed for sort of unlimited campaign contributions and got rid of a lot of these limits that they have. And, of course, Obama behaved quite badly at that time. He actually, in a State of the Union, called out Supreme Court justices who were sitting in the audience for their ruling, right? Which is
poor form.
Poor form, And they talk about the politicization of the Supreme Court. This was an example, I think, of Obama sort of crossing that line. And, of course, now we see something similar happening in the state. I have a problem with it. I think that, we have rules for a reason and that everyone should be playing by the same set of rules. And so when you have one candidate who is now outside the system, raising whatever they want, spending whatever they want, and another who's sort of locked into that system and has to follow the rules of that system, that's very different. It's very different, and it's not fair. They're running two different types of campaigns that are not bound by the same rules. So
is the only thing that, I think the only remedy to this, and I don't know that I think you would have First Amendment problems with this, is to say that everybody has to take public financing.
Yeah.
And that you can't take anything else. But that wouldn't work. Again, that'd be a First Amendment problem.
Yeah.
Right? Because money is speech. That's what the Supreme Court has ruled.
Yeah. There's got to be a better way of doing it, though. I'm not sure that we've quite figured out what that is. But both parties try their best to game the system. But it seems like the Democrats have been doing a much better job of gaming the system, that Obama sort of opened up the floodgates. And for all of their mouthing the words about, money in politics, it's the Democrats who've really benefited from all this. And Obama raised more money than anybody ever,
Well, the narrative is that the GOP is only for the rich.
Yeah.
But the reality is that the richest zip codes, the wealthiest zip codes in the United States United States all vote Democrat.
Yeah, right. That's the irony of it all.
That's the irony. The narrative is not correct. The narrative is the narrative from a generation or two or three ago.
Yeah.
But that's not the way it is now.
The media loves to call out, President Trump for his blatant lies, but they ignored a lot of these same sort of factual inaccuracies. I don't want to use the word lie. The lies when Obama was talking about this stuff.
Now, not to say that we should let Trump off the hook. A lie is a lie.
No.
But if you're going to call out bad behavior, then call out bad behavior.
Yeah. But the difference, I guess, is that Obama said it in a very polite and respectful way.
Yes, he was very professorial.
And the media agreed with what he was attempting to do, so they were willing to sort of let it slide. Yeah?
Yeah.
So it's a very different environment. But the reality is a lot of what he was talking about wasn't true, which wasn't true. He was spinning a tale of financial challenges that just weren't true. He was trying to make it out like the Republicans were all a bunch of slimy people getting all this dark money, and he was this pure person. He was anything but pure.
You don't get to that level by being pure.
No.
So real quick here at the end of the show, Rand Paul has now said that he fears that there's going to be an assassination. Senator cites unstable people amid death threats. Already the target of death threats, including from a person who threatened to chop up his family with an axe, Rand Paul worries the current political climate could spawn deadly violence. I fear there's going to be an assassination. I really worry that somebody is going to be killed. And he told, of course, he's a senator from Kentucky, and he told this to WHAS on Tuesday, referring to Brett Kavanaugh's confirmation and ongoing protests in Washington. Those who are ratcheting up the conversation, they have to realize they bear some responsibility if this elevates to violence. He added, referencing Senator Cory Booker's call in June for activists concerned with ending homelessness to get up in the face of some congresspeople. And of course, Maxine Waters said similar things.
So you saw this teacher who was put on leave, and then she resigned her job because she posted online about who's going to step up and kill Kavanaugh.
Right. Which is craziness.
Right.
We don't do that.
And I think she was like a kindergarten teacher, something ridiculous. So not your tip. I mean, typically you think of kindergarten teachers, you think of
they're very sweet and nurturing and empathetic,
but instead this crazy woman's on there saying we're going to kill. Who's going to kill him? We're going to kill him.
Out for blood, literally. Right. So. So we need to ratchet down the rhetoric and the conversation, and the people who have microphones in front of them, including us, people who have a pulpit, people who have, who are in elected office. It has to start with you. You have to stop keep getting people all stressed out. And I got to say this because it's time to go. I was listening to another show on this station where they're talking about we're 30 days away from the end of America as we know it. No, we're not.
No.
America
will continue.
America will continue.
Halloween's scary, but it's not that scary.
Exactly. So, we're at the end of our show for today. I'm Erin Brinker.
And I'm Tobin Brinker.
And we are on the Brink, the morning show on KCAA, AM 1050, FM 106.5, and FM 102.3. Have a great day, everyone.
KCAA Loma Linda, 1050 AM, 106.5 FM, and now 102.3 FM.
I'm Tanya Hansen. CNBC mortgage applications are falling as interest rates rise. The Mortgage Bankers Association says mortgage applications fell 1.7%, refinance volume dropped 3%, and the purchase index declined 1.1% last week. The 30-year